I was very fortunate in the earlier years of my career to have dealt with very strict customers,
Okay.
you know, who eventually became a very important part of my mentorship. The higher the challenges, the higher the criticism from the customer, the more you tend to learn. Correct. So this is actually a 1972
Right.
started company by my father, late, his name was late Om Prakash Mahipal ji. So that's how he started the organization. And in the beginning, it was a very small company. We started with rubber transportation from Kerala.
Mm.
And when we grew in rubber transportation in Kerala, it was very natural for us to join hands with the tire industry.
Mm.
And that's how we had, for a very longest period of the company's history, has been associations with the tire industry, primarily because our history and our inception was always in the rubber and tire segment. I give a lot of credit to our team members who have stood the weather of time. It has been a very commendable journey, primarily because the team has been very supportive. They
Mm.
are the ones who have actually done all the hard work.
Right.
So a lot goes to the team members as well.
Right. So Nitin ji, like basically when we are talking about Mega, so if what are the product offerings you have currently? What type of services you provide to customer? If you can cover that, and accordingly we can proceed. Yeah.
So yeah, sure, Maninder. So like I said, we started off small and offering primarily road transportation from Kerala, but the whole idea or the structure was to make sure that we add a lot of value and tangible value to our customers. And this is primarily, that is why I think we could sustain for a very long time having a single large client.
Mm. Okay.
And this value addition came with the different, services we offered. It was not restricted to road transportation, although we began like that. But we soon ventured into warehouse constructions,
Mm.
uh, providing 3PL services to our customers and customizing the trucks that we were building a long way.
Mm.
So a lot of trucks were being customized as per the weight and volume requirements of our customers.
Okay.
And with this mindset of adding value, we were growing at a good speed. But in
Okay.
2005, we of course found the need to become sector agnostic and reach out to more industries and not stick only to the tire and rubber industry. So within 2005, when I joined my father in 2004, we quickly moved to becoming a logistics, service providers for other industries, and this includes the array of all industries now, ranging from chemicals
Okay.
to paints, pharma, FMCG, beverages, alcohol beverages.
Okay.
So everything now we are pretty much clear that we want to be, you know, reaching out to more and more customers and extend as a, pan-India nationalized road transport company. That's
Okay.
how the last decade has been shaping our company into a completely nationalized transport company.
Okay. So generally, how big is your team, and what is the structure in terms of the vehicles you own, and how the market dynamics work in this sector in which you are currently?
Correct. So the team is about 450 odd people today, excluding the truck drivers. If we have to include the truck drivers, we would be a plus thousand, having 1,000 plus employees.
Hmm.
So that is the team strength. As far as the company-owned trucks are concerned, they comprise to, or they add up to 25 to 27% of the overall revenue. The
Okay.
rest of the revenue still comes from sourcing of trucks from the market. And I
Okay.
think that is a very good model, primarily because not all the trucks can be managed through a throughput of up and down movements and giving to and fro movements to those trucks. Um,
Okay.
of course, the logistics market post the GST and post demonetization has really changed. So there are pockets of industries which have developed in the country, and these industrial towns, take care of more than 60-70% of the volumes.
Okay.
However, the deliveries have to be done across all, towns in the country. So it is not easy to find the return loads from these towns. That is
Right.
the reason why we always prefer a mix of company owned and outsourced trucks
Okay.
in the supply
Okay.
chain.
Okay. So you mentioned about market and the dynamics, how so maybe we can touch base that point that I wanted to show a lens from a entrepreneurial mindset who owns the company, how to grow it, so that someone watches the episode, if he or she is interested to get into this industry, he or she is able to understand how the industry looks like, what are the challenges, how to grow your business, and how players, established players with a very good legacy like yours, are doing it in the right way. So maybe we can talk about the current logistics market in India, the subsector where you are operating, how that is growing, what are the trends, what are the challenges generally for the viewers here.
So I think it is a very good time for entrepreneurs to set, target on the industry, especially the logistics industry, because the timing has never been better. When
Hmm.
I entered the market about 20-22 years ago, we were still dealing with a lot of cash. The cash transactions until demonetization and until COVID was very high,
Okay.
and we were dealing with in and out of cash, which was leading to a lot of non-transparency and a lot of manipulations, right? Wherever there is cash involved, there you can understand that there will be not enough accountability.
Hmm.
But when that changed post the pandemic, the whole industry, including the truck drivers, the highways, and the little shops
Hmm.
on the highways, were all ready to accept payments through digital transactions, which
Right.
was a great shift, because suddenly now our focus was not on accountability, it was not on taking care of cash, but actually it all dealt with transparency. Every transaction was directly sent to the vendors without, keeping the track of cash, or
Right.
without having the stress that, okay, where is the cash going? How much is it going? There was a lot of roadblocks when the banks were closed for various reasons. The transactions would take time,
Right.
but now everything was happening even when the banks were closed. So it was becoming more and more, it is now becoming more and more easy to do the, to take care of the company and its transactions. GST also played a very big role,
Hmm.
because earlier, before GST, I was personally very confused. Yeah, every state is having their own set of forms, own sets of
Right.
transactions, rules, regulations. With GST, everything became, a simple straightforward rule of both documentation and transactions.
Right.
So that definitely had a lot of, that led to a lot of improvement
Hmm.
to the logistics industry as well.
Okay.
I think in the recent years, in the last 3 to 5 years, there has been a lot of thrust, or the pace at which the technology is getting adopted in the logistics industry, especially the road transport industry, is also very high.
Okay.
um, and that is a good and a not so good thing, right? Because I say good for all the reasons, which is very obvious. It's easy to track the trucks, it's easy to
Okay.
give information, it is very fast to give information, we are reducing the errors on the way, we're reducing the error of managing the services and everything. But
Okay.
on the other hand, let us understand that the transport trade is a very competitive trade,
Hmm.
and to deploy professionals who are very good at technology is tough. So
Hmm.
we obviously are employing people from very humble backgrounds, who may not be so tech savvy, who may not have access to the best in technology, or have exposure to the newest form of technology, especially the AI. So
Okay.
when that is the case, we as entrepreneurs understand that there will be a learning curve, and within the learning curve there will be issues, or there will be errors that will happen. It will be
Okay.
slow, so the absorption of technology will be slow in the beginning. But once the entire team is aligned with the technology change, when they have accepted it, that is when things will become easy. So one has to give time to have that learning curve.
Okay. So you mentioned a very important, interesting point that the adoption of technology is good also, but it's bad also. Like,
Yeah.
so can you elaborate that part, like
Yes,
in
I
what
can.
terms you are saying?
Especially the technology, in the logistics industry, what happens, Maninder, is, for example, now on the highways, right? Now, the technology that the government has adopted is that they can simply take a picture of the truck and
Okay.
slap a fine of how much ever you want, right? Without even the driver or the car driver knowing what exactly happened. So this is good, of course, because it is giving a lot of power on the in the hands of government authorities. It is, but at the same time, it is not allowing the driver to justify his
Right.
negligence,
Okay.
or his mistakes. So and without knowing that, and to have thousands and thousands of rupees as penalties for driving trucks on the highway is a lot on the logistics service provider.
Hmm.
So one has to be given that rule and regulations in advance. There has to be policies and
Hmm.
programs to make sure that the trucks on the highway are following the certain rules and regulations. Maybe
Okay.
there has to be some amount of training and clarity on the highways, where you do not see it in the form of signages, in the form of learnings, in the
Okay.
form of any other warnings as well, which will remind the drivers to follow the rules and regulations, or for the trucking company to follow the rules and regulations. So there is a lot that needs to be done before deploying a very harsh technology of
Okay.
just taking a picture, or taking acts, scanning the the truck and slapping a penalty.
Right. And nowadays, what I understand is that now there are lots of data-driven instruments and technologies are available where you
Hmm.
can track how the driver is behaving on the road, how
Hmm.
much fuel consumption is happening, are there any leakages or not, or how we can improve the way driver is putting pressure on the accelerator or the clutch. So,
Hmm.
considering all these points, like what exactly you mentioned, that it's a very good thing, but it might be resulting into some kind of trust issues also, right? When the data is
Correct.
coming into picture. Yeah.
Absolutely. So more than the trust issues, I think it is driving a lot of anxiety amongst
Okay.
working professionals, both drivers and working professionals, because now we are taking the personal equation out. There was logistics industry, or for that matter, many other industries were always driven by personal, relationships. But
Right.
now when we speak to our customers, when the drivers speak to us, we are always referring to the data of maybe the truck placements, or how did you drive the truck, and what happened on the way, what
Mm.
was the mileage of the fuel. So we are taking all this data from the tech available, but
Mm.
totally driving out the personal relationships of the equation, which again, in a service industry, makes a huge difference, because ultimately it is not the technology or the machine which is doing the work. It is a human
Mm.
person on the wheel which is doing the job in the service industry, and one has to definitely keep account of his or her relationships with the company,
Right.
with the service he has given,
Mm.
and not be too harsh based on the data which is available. So, of course, having said that, there is a huge plus. There is a lot of clarity, a lot of transparency that the data provides on the table. But at the end of the day, we have to get our work done from a humble, from a person who's from a very humble background.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So, how the workforce looks like today, I know that there is some kind of barrier in terms of people wanting to become part of this ecosystem. So, so is that impacting the business owners? Or if yes, like what things you do personally to ensure that you get the talent what you want onboarded and drive the
So
growth?
yeah, there is a mix. Of course, there are companies across the spectrum, right? There are smaller companies, there are larger companies in the logistics field as well, and I'm sure the challenges are the same for both, because one has to both hire and retain talent at the same time.
Hmm.
And with the challenges that are coming in from the customer side, with the with the speed at which the changes are happening, the speed at which they need the delivery, the information, absolutely error free, absolutely data driven, requires the employees and the entrepreneurs running the companies to be on their toes all the time, because everybody wants the delivery to be done on time. Everybody is in a very competitive market
Right.
today, and
Right.
the pressure is definitely coming on the trucker or the logistics service provider, because even if you have delayed your manufacturing, even if you've delayed your packaging, nobody will accept a delay in delivery.
Hmm. Right.
Whether it is a 30-minute pizza which is coming to your doorstep, or whether it is now the apps which have taken a 10-minute ride to your house, because they have set a standard, right? कि
Right.
हाँ हमें 10 मिनट में ये डिलीवरी मिल सकती है. So
Correct.
if you can deliver within 10 minutes a certain cargo to your house for the last mile delivery, can you imagine if they will never accept a day's or a half a day delivery delay
Hmm.
in the long haul trucking business?
Right. Right.
So to answer your question, yes, there are some challenges in retaining the talent in the industry, because it is very, very competitive, very, very challenging. But at the same time, as in our company, we are resorting to a lot of training, a
Hmm.
lot of personal communication, which is leading to making sure that we're preparing them from what's to come.
Okay.
I had actually a very interesting video I had seen,
Hmm.
and where the mentor was talking about when you're an entrepreneur and when you're higher up in the hierarchy,
Hmm.
you are in a position of vision,
Hmm.
and you should be able to foresee what is the changes that are going to come,
Right.
because you are in a position higher up than the others. You are privileged one who should be able to see or view the and predict what is going to come. So as leaders and as entrepreneurs, I feel we should always try to reach out to and learn faster than the others, so that the same can be trained, and can say same can be parted to your staff members, because in the future they will soon need it.
Right.
So our programs, our training programs, our weekly review meetings are all but designed in a fashion that I try and give them the idea of what's going to come, what are the demands of the customers, and how we are going to take care of it as a service provider,
Hmm. Right.
which I think is
Right.
exceptionally important, to be
Correct.
very communicative with your team, to keep giving them and understanding their challenges, because at the end of the day, it can only be ironed out through a healthy conversation.
Yes, I agree. I agree on that part.
Yeah.
And and uh, just coming back to that industry point. So uh, so we define the industry into multiple legs, like first mile, middle mile, last mile. And apart from that, I'm sure there will be certain other terminologies and the nomenclature which the industry follows. So, if today, for example, there is a young entrepreneur who is in the age of 20, 25, maybe less than 20 now with Zepto, I don't think so. There is a limit on when you start and make a billion dollar company. So, if someone young comes to you and just ask you a simple question that Nitin ji, I want to start a business logistics service in this LSP space. So from where I should start, on which inefficiency I should focus, and
Hmm.
as per your experience, um, how I can grow well. So what should be the starting key points? So how will you guide like that person?
I think if you're thinking that a new a person is joining after completing his education, I think that's what your question is.
Right.
Uh, I think he should definitely start from the grassroots level.
Okay.
And the grassroots level is all about the drivers. It's all about understanding who is this person, and under what conditions is he driving the truck, and
Okay.
what is the culture, what is the behavior that is leading him to the way he is working today.
Mm.
which at the end of the day, if you've understood that, if you've understood how the base grassroots level performs in India, it will be very, very easy for us to manage the higher authorities or higher ups in the supply chain, primarily because this is where all the errors, all the challenges are being faced. All the other things are within the office spaces, in the transport segment, especially
Okay.
because
Okay.
everyone else in the team is sitting in the offices talking on the phones on their laptops or computers. It's only the driver who's actually behind the wheel and facing all the good or bad things on the way.
Okay. So, but for example, if I'm that person, so one thing is that I should, in order to understand the ecosystem, I have to be in touch with the drivers who are driving the sector as a whole. But
Yes.
now I want to, so I have spent some time with them. Now I want to understand, okay, from where I should start. Now I want to start my own company, and I will focus on this area, and this
Hmm.
is an inefficiency, and then I will grow my business. So in which area I can focus in this sector to
There
start?
are, yeah, so there are actually, I'll break it down to different aspects of the supply chain. It could be uh, the management of truck drivers, like I said before.
Okay.
It could be the management of the assets, like the trucks or the machinery that is deployed in the logistics industry. It could
Mm.
be outsourcing these assets or trucks from the market and supplying it to the corporates.
Okay.
And and after having done that, I think there is a lot that can be done from the collection and collection of data and analysis of data as well,
Okay.
because that's something which is not reached to all the service providers, all the corporates till date. And
Okay.
they're all hiring very high consultants or very, sort of expensive consultants to do that for themselves. But if there is a new wave or a new method by which the data can be collected and analyzed to deploy for the betterment of the supply chain at a at a better cost or at a better quality, nothing
Okay.
like it.
Oh, okay. So these are the areas where I can focus if I want to start, and then
Yes.
deep dive further basis what can be done.
Yes, because the data will ultimately teach us where the issues are, what are the problems with each
Right.
corporate supply chain, and
Right.
where we need to focus, right?
Correct. So Nitinji, you touch based a bit on customer expectations. So maybe we can elaborate a bit more on that from the early days on when your father started the business. The customer expectations might be different. Now
Hmm.
when you entered into the business, different. And now what is happening? So if you can just elaborate on how the expectations are changing.
Yeah, sure. When I joined the organization, I remember the change from the manual to the electronic modes of cost collection had already started.
Hmm.
I think I remember the first meeting I had with my customer was when all of us were called, all the transporters were called to their head office. We were all told to sit in different rooms,
Okay.
and a set of computers we were feeding in prices, in the computer, so that someone accessing it from the head office within the same premises could see what kind of prices are coming in. So that was the first way we started the online bidding system, where the
Okay.
cost input had started. And but still there was a lot of importance given to personal relationships, or the lot of importance given to the years of service provided by the supply chain service provider. So I think that was still the key. Over a period of time, what I have seen is, yes, cost still remains the undoubted king of the customer's requirements. The
Okay.
customer will go at to any extent to reduce the cost, and in all honesty, it is the right way to move ahead. The
Okay.
customers have realized that the logistics in India is at a 12 to 14% of the GDP. That's
Mm.
what the Modi government has been again and again, reiterating, and they all are looking to forward towards reducing it to a 7 to 8%.
Okay.
And having said that, to remain competitive, to ensure that your product is reaching the market faster, better, in a more quality conscious way,
Mm.
That is, of course, seen in the logistics industry as the important part.
Okay.
So, of course, staying low to your costs. At the same time, the thrust has been now towards a quality consciousness as well.
Okay.
There was and in the beginning there was I don't remember having a lot of quality conscious approach towards the trucking or the supply of trucks. But now our team has does go through a lot of checklists, making
Okay.
sure that the platform or the paint or the driver is trained and the truck maintenance is up to the mark. The tire inflation is in place,
Mm.
properly in place. So there are a lot of things that the truck has to be checked before making sure it is roadworthy, so
Okay.
that we can reduce the number of errors, we can reduce the number of claims on the way. The packaging is definitely, adding a lot of value here. The way the packaging is done, the way the driver is driving the truck, the where is he parking the truck, a lot of importance is given to every minute detail,
Mm.
because the customer has now understood that every error is a cost, which was not the case earlier. Every return is a cost, so we are trying to reduce as many returns, as many errors as possible in the supply chain.
Okay.
And then the customer approach has also changed, right? Would you ever want to take delivery of a carton which is torn, or which is not appealing, or which is not looking good? So you will automatically say that, oh, I received the cargo well, but the packaging was torn.
Mm.
So how important it is for us to, as logistics service provider, to make sure that even the packaging, the outer packaging, is as intact, as good looking, as fresh as the material or the cargo inside is. So
Mm.
the quality consciousness is definitely increasing in the customers, and so it is automatically coming down upon the logistic providers to make to take care of that.
Okay.
As I said earlier, the error-free logistics or the error-free supply chain is very important now. There is
Mm.
no room for error, because the moment you provide the customer that there is a truck stuck on the way, there is accident that has happened, or there is a repair that has happened, even smaller things like that, there is a certain loss of sale for the customer on the other side, which
Mm.
they will never accept. So we have to make sure that our trucks are properly maintained. The preventive maintenance has been taken into account. The renewables have done has been done properly, and so to say. So as a company, we make sure that we are calculating the on time in full OTIF
Mm.
benchmark, and we are making sure that it is reaching a 99 or above a 99 percentile uh,
Okay.
figure for our
Okay.
customers. And this is happening through a lot of training, like I said before, through a lot of uh, back and forth discussions on why did the issue happen and how we can not allow it to happen again.
Okay. Got it.
I think
And I
yeah, yeah, go ahead.
and majority of these things, are the customers helping you as well, or the logistic service providers, that these are the things also where maybe you can change your trainings and add these points as well. So it's a joint effort, or like how it works?
Yes, I think it is both. It is a joint effort with the larger corporates, because they are definitely trying to raise the benchmark of a quality delivery. And so, if you are able to, match up to their expectations, you obviously are in a better space, and then that can be delivered to other corporates as well. You
Okay.
know,
Okay.
definitely they are a part of it. I know corporates who have set up checklists and who are making sure that the delivery is or the cargo is handled extremely well.
Hmm. Okay.
So that's where I think the expectations are happening. In the middle, I always thought that the consolidation of larger logistics players will happen, or smaller logistics players will consolidate into larger logistics players. But in the recent past, in the last couple of years, the fragmented, you know that the logistics, scene is very fragmented, with
Hmm.
smaller truck
Right.
owners, smaller vehicle owners, and smaller transporters as well. the procurement, because cost is the important part, the procurement of these services have now also been done on a daily basis, because
Mhm.
technology is available for daily biddings or daily price point evaluation. uh, it is actually giving a lot of uh, you know uh, it's actually allowing the fragmented market to survive as well,
Hmm.
because
Okay.
transporter can even take a daily price and then provide services to the corporate company, right? So
Okay.
because the cost reduction of cost is the primary goal of the customer, they're allowing daily price purchase as well, which
Okay.
I think only delaying the consolidation in a lot of corporates today.
Okay.
I always felt that consolidation would happen much faster, but that is definitely delaying it. The next point, of course, from the customers requirement is sustainability. you know
Okay.
and everybody is talking about the environment and the carbon credits or carbon footprint. I see in a lot of forums people are discussing about how their models can be more sustainable, how we can reach out to be becoming a more multimodal logistics country, a country which is offering multimodal opportunities, or now even the electric vehicles, right?
Mhm.
So that is obviously what the customers are demanding. There are many customers who have a very hard target of being sustainable in their supply chain by the year 2030 or
Okay.
2035. So I see that in the coming future, there would be definitely a lot of need for multimodal services and for electrification of trucks as and
Mhm.
when possible. Of course,
Okay.
the infrastructure today does not allow that in a big way, but wherever possible, the customers are definitely choosing a more sustainable model.
Okay. But are customers ready to pay for it also? Because obviously it incurs cost because if you have to,
No,
yeah.
right? No, they are definitely not ready to pay more,
Mm.
but they are definitely ready to try.
Okay. Okay.
So it's both, right? They'll have to balance the cost and the future requirement as well. As in, when the volumes will increase, they will definitely require more sustainable models, which may be seemingly very expensive now. But if
Mm.
they deploy it earlier, they understand it better. They've done the trial and error. Maybe it will turn out to be eventually cost effective for all of us.
Okay. Got it. Got it. And this you have like put it in a very good way, like the framework way, which is easy to understand. So from it, I'll pick on the second point which I was mentioning, that for this sector to grow, more disruptions to happen, there are multiple factors, but I will pick the infrastructure here because
Hmm.
the road, there are roads, then the trucks are running on the roads. The bad the situation is, the output will be that it will impact the output. So I think that is one of the big concerns for all the logistics service providers. So I will just pick that point here. So generally, in terms of infrastructure, how the progress has been, there are
Yeah.
so many things being introduced by the authorities on regular basis, but on implementation execution wise, that is point one. The second thing is that if certain things are not happening, so as an expert from this industry, what are your recommendations which can be followed by the authorities also and by the next entrepreneurs who want to go into the space and work on the inefficiencies?
Correct. I do get your question. So there's a lot happening from the infrastructure development point of view. The road infrastructure is only getting better
Hmm.
within the city of Bombay itself. When you see the coastal road happening, or
Yeah.
these new highways getting developed, it's made the life so much easier for everyone, and that's exactly what we see on the highways as well. Across the country, whether it is the Delhi Mumbai Industrial Corridor or the Sagar Mala project or now the Bombay Nagpur Highway, they're all extremely well developed highways. But on the flip side, what is in it for the key individual? Again, coming back to the driver,
Hmm.
have they made the highway safe for the driver?
Hmm.
Are there enough hospitals and medical centers in for the driver's aid? Are there enough parking lots where where the driver can actually park the truck, have a decent meal, rest his time, and then be onward to the journey? The answer is no. So, in to balance the infrastructure development, I will definitely want a lot of improvement in the facilities for the truck drivers.
Hmm.
That is definitely important because this is how the truck driver would be drawn towards his job as well. Otherwise, we will keep having a lot of shortfall for the most important person in the supply chain, which is the truck driver. And that we already see as logistic service providers, that there is a lot of demand but very low supply of good trained drivers who want to now take up the job. Maybe at the local level, yes, because at the local level there are hardly any issues, but
Hmm.
when it comes to flying the national highways across the length and breadth of the country, very difficult to find quality drivers.
Hmm.
And it goes back to the infrastructure because nothing has been developed by the government as such.
Hmm.
So this could actually bring a lot of public-private partnership here. I would expect that the public-private sectors both come together and develop such infrastructure, both for the trucking industry and making sure that the areas where industries and cities coexist to
Hmm.
decluster them as well. There are so many cities who have, because of very fast economical development for industrial developments, the city and the industry coexist in a certain town, which
Hmm.
is again difficult for the trucker to manage because he has to enter areas for delivery which is no entry, which are high market, high traffic zones. And can you imagine the life of a trucker who's passing through a crowded street in India and having to deal with all the challenges with the which the local authorities or the traffic policemen must be giving him.
Right.
So that needs to be in a way well planned. We can abide by the rules by making sure that there are clear entry, no entry barriers given, and
Hmm.
during those times. But at the entry, when the entry timings are there, it has to be laned for truck drivers to ensure they reach the delivery point safely, and there is no harassment on the way.
Right. Right. But I think this point what you rightly mentioned, I can confirm this because I have had few instances where um, the time was up, the driver could not enter the city, because of which the whole plan got changed. And then if there is some traffic in the city, and even when driver is doing everything right, but nothing is in his control. So and yeah, it's a challenge which needs to be addressed, right? But
Definitely needs to be addressed, and I think whatever we are doing with for the drivers in the country, and the faster we deploy the correct infrastructure, should not be only viewed from a moral responsibility, but also as a strategic, a strategic decision, because ultimately it is going to benefit both the economy of the country as well as the trade, right? So this is exceptionally important to now get on board.
hmm, right, right, perfect.
I think I just want to add, especially for the your viewers who are entering or thinking of entering the logistics or the supply chain market, Maninderji, what I really need to tell them is, I was very fortunate in the earlier years of my career to have dealt with very strict customers,
Okay.
who eventually became a very important part of my mentorship. They became such wonderful mentors for me because I personally feel my approach towards the business was more to do with how to turn those challenging moments into the moments of learning and
Right,
productivity and growth.
right,
So, and that you will encounter day in and day out in this industry. You will be faced with challenges every day in and out. And one should view it as a learning curve. One should view it from the idea of, deploying more value to the customer,
right,
because the higher the challenges, the higher the criticism from the customer, the more you tend to learn.
Right.
On the other hand, it should not lead to stress. So I would want the professionals entering the space, and even the experienced professionals who are already in the space, to keep take this with a pinch of salt, to not stress themselves so much so that it should lead to any issues with their health.
Mm.
It is a very challenging industry, we know that, but let's learn from what the customer needs rather than coming under pressure. So and if you are with the customer, if your intent is right, you're trying to add value in the way, I'm sure we will all win at the end of the day.
Thanks a lot. Thank you. It's a very practical advice for viewers,
Yes.
for me as well.